Okay, storage of your possessions, and that including your stuff and your vehicle. All right, let's talk first about possessions, the things that you have. Um, Honestly, you're not going to miss them. Like this is my best advice: is sell as much stuff that you don't think you'll ever want to see again. And you will be surprised, being gone for a year, when you come back. Like I have a mountain of stuff that's stored up at my family cabin. They were, I was lucky enough to basically not need to pay for storage. I was just able to truck it all up there and leave it in a room. But I came home over one of the breaks, like April timeframe, and just walked in the cabin and saw this mountain of stuff that I hadn't seen in almost a year. And it was just like, I don't need any of this. I've been traveling this whole time. Like you feel so much better and so much lighter without it. And then you come back and you realize you have all this crap. So my recommendation is sell as much as you can. Anything sentimental, obviously, keep and store, but try to get rid of the stuff that just doesn't matter, that you don't care about. Um, so to the extent you can sell as much, obviously it gives you a little cash, and then it's less stuff that you have to store. So storing, if you're fortunate to have a place like a family cabin where you can put stuff, obviously that's preferable to paying for stuff. Um, but obviously self-storage, there's plenty of places. If you live in a city of any kind, there's going to be ways you can store your stuff. For selling it, I recommend, there's a couple apps. There's one in particular called OfferUp, which is I hadn't heard of before. Someone turned me onto it, and it's been fantastic. I've liquidated like so much music gear through this app. It's ridiculous. It's better than Craigslist in my opinion. It's easy. All communication is just done through the app. It's very easy to post stuff. And lower prices and communicate with people and whatnot. So OfferUp is the name of that app. Craigslist is an obvious one. eBay Local, if you have big stuff like couches and whatnot that you need to move. So those are all good ways to get rid of that. Okay, now when it comes to storing or selling your vehicle, same thing. Like you kind of have to make the decision, like what is the likelihood that you're just going to come right back and dip into the life that you're currently in, go abroad and then come back, and then you're just going to want to pick up where you left off, or is there a chance that you may not want to come back? When I left, I had no intention that I would keep going, and here I am, almost 2 years later, and I'm still going. Like I just have zero desire to go back. I actually just got my residency in Lisbon, in Portugal, so I'm moving to Lisbon shortly. And all this stuff, like I actually just sold my Tahoe, and next time I do go back home, I'm going to be selling all the physical possessions and stuff. So I don't know. This to me is a question of, you have to ask of yourself now, what is the likelihood that you'll just come right back, versus is there a chance that you may want to just keep going and traveling? And if it's the latter, then do everything you can to minimize the stuff you have, including getting rid of your vehicle. So if you sell it, I used eBay Motors. It was super easy. I took 2 auctions, but I got a really good price for it. I was happy with it. Transaction went smoothly. I was actually really impressed with that whole process. So I highly recommend eBay Motors if you're selling your vehicle. Otherwise, if you're storing it, so I stored mine for a full year. The entire time I was on a remote year, I actually had that as well stored up at the family cabin. Some considerations there, like it's really nice to have someone to babysit it and move it once in a while. Like keeping the fluids running through it, keeping the tires from all going flat. My folks were nice enough to just go up there once a month and move it. So if you store it, ideally look for someone like a neighbor or a friend that you could give the keys to and say, hey, do me a favor once a month, just move this thing, drive it around the block and put it back. Now, actually, don't drive it around the block. Drive it like very minimally on the property, because here's what else we need to talk about. You're going to want to deregister the vehicle at your local DMV. So these laws will be unique to whatever state you're in, or if you're in a different country, you have to look at the local laws. But in Arizona, basically, I had to deregister the vehicle and tell them that I wasn't driving it. And actually, if you have it insured, this is the other thing, and we'll talk about this in the last lesson today when we talk about insurance. But when you change the insurance, your insurance company is obligated to report that to the state. And so that will trigger something. And if you don't also then file at the DMV, then they're going to be like, well, this vehicle isn't insured, but you're still driving it. So filing at the DMV tells them, hey, just so you know, like you're going to be getting a notice from the insurance company that says this vehicle is no longer insured. It's because I'm not driving it anymore. So that's what that's for. Um, and while you're at the DMV, this is something good to know. So check your driver's license. You should just look at it right now. Check the expiration date on your driver's license and see if that's going to expire during the time that you intend to be abroad. If you may need to be driving a vehicle abroad, then you will need to have a driver's license. And the U.S. driver's license, at least, is recognized in pretty much every place we went. I drove in Ireland. It was weird because it was on the wrong side of the road, but you'll need to have a valid driver's license. So just check that now. See if the expiration happens while you intend to be abroad. If it does, then while you're at the DMV getting your vehicle de-insured or unregistered, then you might as well renew your driver's license and just tell them that you're going abroad and that you need a new version of it now. Okay, so that is this, possession storage and vehicle storage, and again, we'll talk about the insurance component of that in the very last lesson today. So we got two more. We'll talk about mail forwarding next, and then we'll hit insurance, and then we'll do homework, and we're done.